Here's what you should know about your local housing market in this week's Market Update. Welcome to 2025. We are super excited about the new year and the things that we have planned for our business, for you, for our clients. We're super excited for what the market will bring for us. We've got a lot of exciting things to introduce to you. Number one, you can see I'm filming from a new environment. This is my brand new home office setup. I will be here much more often. I've got tons of natural sunlight. I've got much better air quality with my humidifiers, my air purifiers, my house plants. I've got a huge 75-inch computer screen, a nice standing podium, so much more comfortable work environment, much more ergonomically beneficial. I've got a kitchen with healthy snacks as opposed to a lot of the junk that people bring into the office. We've got a lot of new exciting marketing tactics and plans to introduce to our home sellers. We've got a fresh new website at bruinrealestate.com. We are still adding some things to that, but well, I'm always more than happy to meet with you to discuss the different services that we can provide for you as a seller, home seller or buyer, in addition to all the things we do that far exceed the offerings of our competitors. But now you can find a lot of that on our website. So we're really excited. It's really visually engaging. It really encompasses a lot more of what we at the Bruin team really provide for you, our clients. So that being said, what do we expect out of the real estate market, the local real estate market? Well, I expect housing prices to continue to rise. We expect this year to be a much more normal, steady number though. So these huge gains we saw the last few years, we're not expecting that, but we do not expect prices to go down at all either. A much more healthy appreciation rate. Inventory we expect to remain extremely low. We do expect to see that increase as we get further into spring. However, and we're hoping to see more inventory overall for the year than we saw in the previous year or two. But that being said, we do expect buyer demand to still significantly outpace inventory. Some of the historically slower moving towns, we might see a little bit more balance in that buyer-seller struggle. However, the towns that typically perform better, we're still expecting bidding wars, quick sales, so do prepare for that. Mortgage interest rates have remained fairly steady, and we expect that to be the case throughout the year. We do expect to see decreases. We saw a few Fed cuts in the last few months. They did not have much, if any, effect on the mortgage interest rates. We do expect mortgage rates to decrease throughout the year, ever so slightly. Right now we're in the high sixes. We hope to be down to the low sixes by the end of the year. So not much to note, not much of a change that would likely have an effect over your decision to move or timing on when to move. So I don't recommend looking at interest rates as an indicator of when will be a good time to make that move. On top of that, from our reporting, we are encompassing a lot more of the towns that we cover. We cover much more than just Morristown and Morris Township. So our weekly reports will now include not just Morristown and Morris Township, but Chatham, Madison, Harding, Morris Plains, Mendham, Chester, and Randolph. And we'll see how that goes, and we might add a few more of the towns that we routinely cover into the mix as well. So the stats might seem a little funky from the beginning because we're comparing against a larger sample size, but let's get into it, and we'll give a little more comparisons week over week as we progress. So overall in these towns this past week, we saw 23 new homes come in the market. The most homes we saw come in the market were in Randolph with 6, and the lowest were was a tie between Madison and Chester with just 1 home coming on the market. Morristown and Morris Township, we saw 4 homes come in the market. Overall, 21 of those were houses, and only 2 of those were condos or townhouses. Overall average list price for these towns was this past week was $2.1 million. Expect that number to be higher than you're used to because a lot of the towns we've added into the mix do typically have higher priced homes than just Morristown and Morris Township. So $2.1 million was the average list price for these towns this past week. The highest list price average list price this past week was in Harding at $7.65 million. The lowest average list price was in Morris Plains at just $638,000. And then, our second place, we saw Chatham and Madison far behind in second place. Chatham at $2.57 million and Madison at $2.1 million. Total inventory. So total inventory, as I said, is super low. For these towns, total inventory is at 108 homes actively on the market. The town with the most homes actively on the market in these is actually in Morristown and Morris Township. I'm now lumping those together with 28 homes actively on the market. Close second is Mendham with 25 homes actively on the market. And the lowest is Madison with just 4 homes actively on the market. We saw 19 homes sell this past week in these towns. Highest number of sales was in Morristown and Township at 8 homes, and the lowest number was Harding had 0 sales. Chester and Mendham each had 1 sale. Average list price of these homes was $1,022,000. Average sale price was $1,048,000. Average sale to list ratio this past week, we saw homes in these towns in total for an average of 3.6% above list price. The highest amount above list price we saw in Chatham at 9.3% above list price. And then the only town where houses were selling below per list price this past week was in Mendham, where they sold at 9% below list price. Average days on market in these towns was 26 days on the market. Highest number of days on market was in Mendham with a close second of Morristown at 41 days. And the lowest number of days on market was in Madison at just 14 days. Under contract, we saw very few because we saw very few houses come on the market over the holiday break. But under contract homes, we saw 17 homes go under contract this past week. Highest number of under contract homes was in Morristown and Township. We saw many of these towns with no homes, including Chatham, Madison, and Harding had no homes go under contract this past week. Average list price of the homes that went under contract were $882,000, and the median days on market for these homes was 46, which is higher than we would normally expect. But then again, with very few homes coming on the market the last few weeks, more of the homes that would go under contract would have to have more days on market because there was nothing that came on the market recently to go under contract. So definitely give me some feedback on the new format. It's going to be a little more summary because I don't want to go through all the nitty gritty. I'm going to give you the highlights, and at weeks going forward, we're going to talk a lot more about changes as opposed to just point in time numbers. So thanks for checking with me. I'm really excited to be chatting with you guys and keeping you up to date on the market in 2025. I'll catch you guys again soon.